Thanks so much for having me. My name's James. I'm a first-generation tenant farmer in West Sussex. My wife and I have just taken on a 10-year tenancy on an estate where we keep beef cattle. In January, I joined Breedr. Breedr is a precision livestock network, and we use it to facilitate what we call intelligent livestock trading. And what we want to use intelligent livestock trading for is to enable people like myself, people like you, to trade and grow animals sustainably. And we have an app, it's on Android and iPhone, and it's on the web app. So that's sort of the most important thing about you. It's a one-stop shop for intelligent livestock trading. So I just want to explain a bit about why that's important. So we all know that there are enormous challenges, not only in our day-to-day lives, but also in the long term of how we're going to feed a growing middle class in Asia, a growing wealth in developing nations where they want to get hold of good quality beef and lamb products. And with that comes issues in production. So how do we prove provenance and quality? How do we prove that actually we are having a good impact on the environment? And so not only do we have to produce more, but we have to show that we are meeting these goals. And we believe the best way to do that is not to do anything else, but to use data to prove what you're already doing. And we'll talk a bit about what I mean about data in a minute, because it sounds scary, but it's actually really simple. The other thing as well we want to do is that what's for now? And for now is there is an increased pressure on your farm incomes. As subsidy reduces, we're going to need to be able to get paid better for what we are producing now, and data is part of that story. We also have this enormous issue with Brexit. I don't pretend that Breedr can sort any of those issues, but hopefully some of the stuff we do might be of use. So what's the issue today? The issue today in data handling is that it's a manual process, 1, to record it, 2, to share it, and then 3, to analyze it. And what we believe at Breedr is using Breedr should be as simple as connecting your existing data sources, which might be a company that you use today like HerdWatch or FarmPlan, or a system where you are comfortable using it today. You connect that to Breedr, either automatically or using an Excel spreadsheet, and we explain how to do that. You analyze your data using our tools. So we have a team of 20 people, and 12 of them are developers who work full-time in developing tools on how to analyze and use data. If you want to, we're over on a stand. We can show you a demo of what we mean by that later. And then it's once you've analyzed your data, it's as simple as selling on it. And the whole point of Breedr is that we link up these data sources. If you're a dairy farmer and you're selling beef dairy calves in, the data that you record at birth about calving ease, that is valuable. And the person down the supply chain will want to know that, because they might have another dairy farmer down the road who might want to use the same sire you're using. So there is value in sharing the data. And likewise, when they sell that animal, you might want to know what the grading is, because that is a point of difference that then you can talk about when you come to sell your calves the next time. So by having an easy place to share the data, to record the data and share the data, we're generating this market based around selling livestock on values that are valuable to you. So that's the whole ethos behind Breedr. And we've got to start with commercial sustainability. There is no point talking about all the additional benefits of performance recording and the environmental benefits if we're not making money. If there is not a commercial incentive to use Breedr, then it's not worth doing. And we believe that you'll get paid more by sharing the data, but also our data tools will allow you to be more efficient and more profitable. So we believe that this all comes together, that when you're looking for more profit, looking to share those environmental benefits and increase the quality of what you're producing, that Breedr is the solution. So how do we do that? So we have a web app that, as I've said, links with your existing farm management systems, and this allows for easy and efficient traceability. So what that means is that you can see the animal, where it's been, you can see its previous history, you can look into their records. If you've bought an animal from someone else, you're able to see the weight data. Now, it's important that you realize that you don't share that information with anyone. You share that with the person that you're trading to. Or you might invite your vet onto the platform as well, who can then look at your records too. But it's a choice. It's an active choice to share your data, because your data is valuable, it's personal, and you should choose who you share it with. It's not something that you should share with everyone. You might join a producer group, which is a group of farmers. It might be on your estate, or it might be with your next door neighbor, or it might be with your processor. There's a few of you who come together and you choose to share your data. And the whole point of Breedr, it facilitates this data sharing and the analyzing. So for farmers, we believe that there's a collaborative supply chain approach. So not only are we working with people like yourselves, but we're also working with national processors and retailers to create a future market for your stores and your fat cattle. We're also working with integrated beef dairy lots, so that's people who are buying in dairy calves, rearing them, and then moving them on. So we're creating this marketplace where you'll be able to not only sell your animals, but also if you're developing an integrated beef chain, buy them as well. And as we look towards the future, as the increased pressures of environmental and quality concerns of the consumer, integrated beef dairy is a great way to go. We've got messaging built in, the ability to move animals between groups and fields. But what we're really wanting to do is do integration and not replication. So if you've got a system that works for you, if you love the app or the notebook, we want to make it easy for you to use that and Breedr. You can add information into Breedr, but we'd much rather you use an app that you like, and we'll work on getting that data in. We've got a team who sort of sit there in an office and help farmers put their data in, and we've got all sorts of tools to make that easy for you. And if you're a buyer, be that a national processor, a small integrated brand like that has like salt marsh lamb, and you really want to get all your neighbours on developing a product out of that, or you're an integrated beef buyer or someone who buys a lot of stores, we want to make sure that you are buying the animals that are right for your system. So we've got this dashboard and the iPhone app that allows you to buy livestock straight for your phone. So the whole point of that is that because it's a marketplace, it's cheaper to run, so we only charge 0.5% for each party. So that's 0.5% for the buyer and the seller. When you compare that to other industry practices, that's really good value. So we can do that because we're a software company. We don't have a building. We all work out of our own office from home, so our overheads are low. One of the projects we worked on last year was with Rothamsted. Rothamsted are a research farm down in the southwest. And we looked at how we could use data to prove out the quality and environmental emissions of the animals on the farm. So we have a phased approach, but one of the things we looked at was how we could drive sire performance and value from sire performance. So these are calves over 15 months, bought in direct off dairy farm with the semen that Rothamsted were providing. And what happened is each one of these columns is 40 calves. So here we have 40 calves, 40 calves, 40 calves in each column, raised over a 2-year period, so they're coming in at different times. It's not like they're batches. But what we found is it's a top-performing sire, and the bottom of a sire, there was half the difference. So down here we have a Hereford, and up here we have a stabilizer. Not that that says anything about the breeds, just says a bit about the sires. And because we're also taking into account cost of production data and sale data, because it's all in the platform, we're able to see that on the profit for this, it's £419, and for their bottom, it was 0. So what they were doing was wiping out all of their profit from their top-performing sires with their bottom-performing, and they were just making money off the middle. Now, they had never looked at their data in this way, and the whole point of Breedr is we can facilitate this data analyzing. They now only buy from the sort of the top end. So if we look at live weight utilization as well, so this is the principle of what we're trying to do is create an animal that's not growing extra stuff that then it's having to maintain. So the whole idea is that if we can bring the finishing time down, and that's on-farm practice, that's not data. Data's not going to solve that problem, but it should point it out to you that the less body condition it's having to maintain, the more efficient it is as an animal. So if we can try and produce animals at a quicker pace, we're having more profitability on farm, lower environmental emissions, and we've got a tastier product at the end of it. Now this is where my knowledge gets to the end, as I'm not a scientist. However, I can roughly tell you this is to do with gas emissions. The idea being the area underneath the graph shows the amount of gas emissions are related to that animal. So the sooner we can finish an animal, the smaller the amount of the emissions, because we have this period in the middle where they're not growing as fast. So the idea is that if we can be more efficient with the time on farm, they're growing faster, they have less time to reduce emissions. So actually bring finishing age down, it's a real opportunity for us to reduce the amount of emissions coming from our stock, which is a great talking point and should be something that in the future we can sell our animals based on. So at the moment we have the Europe grid, we have restrictions around that. However, in the future it'd be great to see people being paid for outcomes like methane, low methane emissions, meat quality, that sort of thing. So this is one of the other projects we did at Rothamsted, but we were using a camera to look at eye muscle area, intramuscular fat, and then building an algorithm based around that. This is a project which is still ongoing with Rothamsted, so there is not an outworking of it yet. But we also can, the summary is in the end that we've come out with 2 Innovate UK projects, that there is a significant benefit for all parties who use the data along their supply chain. And although this is a research example, it does have real farm applications. And so we think that in a year's time, if you're using Breedr, you have the opportunity of increasing your profitability by 20%. For processors and buyers, you're reducing waste by 10% because you're not buying animals in your system that you don't want, but also we can reduce our environmental impact by 30%. And that's just by being more efficient with the way we're growing animals, and we can track that through data. So at the moment, we've got about 30 farmers across the UK, and we've got farmers in Australia and America using the app as well. It's not something you can download completely, but if you're interested in being involved in a trial, getting on our wait list, if you jump on breedr.co, sign up. We won't send you too much information, but it'll be great to get you on. Like I said, the app's free if you're using it regularly. And the whole point is that we take a 0.5% transaction fee at both ends of the platform. So that's it. I'm James. If anyone has any questions, please do ask.